Welcome to Harness the Shift, the podcast where I spotlight souls shaping a new humanity. I am Jay, a neurosomatic strategist bringing lived experience and practical insight to help listeners see new perspectives and navigate their own paths. I interview leaders, entrepreneurs, and co-creators and change makers, those who have stepped into their healing journeys and are sharing their experiences and perspectives to inspire others on their path of self-discovery and transformation. During these conversations, my guests share how you can connect with them, and all their details are in the podcast description. Now let's take a moment to meet our guests for today. Hello, you beautiful souls. In this episode of Harness the Shift, I sit down with my friend Trish Trapnell from Southwest Florida. We explore the kind of conversations that go beyond the surface about clarity, self-awareness, and the shifts that happen when we step fully into our truth. Trish brings honesty, presence, and lived insight to the conversation. Together we reflect on how transformation unfolds, sometimes quietly, sometimes powerfully, and how showing up with authenticity changes everything. This episode is for anyone who wants to connect with real insight, embrace personal growth, and witness a conversation grounded in truth, heart, and clarity, as well as friendship.
If one individual, one creator created the billions of us and we're all unique and we're all different and we all have our own special way of viewing, seeing, hearing, doing, loving, hating, caring, sharing, that individual knew that we would not be happy with the same because he wasn't. So if he wasn't happy with the same, he knew his creations wouldn't be happy with the same. The point is to start down at the bottom and to learn how to be as godlike, as creator-like as possible. Once you have reached that level, you are now an ascended master and you are no longer needed here on earth. Now you go be a teacher in another realm to help those that are struggling with whatever lesson it is that they're trying to learn.
Hello, you beautiful souls. Thank you for joining us today. Help me welcome our guest, my friend, all the way from Florida, Trish Trapnell. How are you, friend? How have you been?
I am doing well. Been getting warm. It was been a little too chilly in Florida.
This is what I heard. Yeah, it's weather's been pretty bonkers all over the place.
It's Mother Nature has made herself known.
Yeah, right? I spoke with people in North Carolina and they're like, yeah, it's been cold here. And I have to be honest, when up here in the Pacific Northwest, it's been pretty sunny, which is very out of the ordinary. So things are a little strange, to say the least. Shifting, yes. Yes, shifting big time. So why do you think that is?
Part of the reason for shifting is, one, the magnetic energy of Earth itself, the resonance has actually changed. It's resonating at a different frequency now. And those of us that are sensitive to energy has been feeling this coming on for a little while now. It's either been making us nauseous, dizzy, sick, headaches from bad headaches, pressure in the ears, feeling like your head's going to explode, walking and stumbling. So even though we're grounding, we're not able to ground properly because Earth's energy has been changing. So we're not grabbing onto that frequency like we used to. And because this frequency is changing, every state, vibrates at a certain level. Well, not no more. Florida's over here at 757, and all of a sudden now Florida is resonating at 532, and we're over here going, hello? my northern friends, come get your winter. It does not belong down here. Come get it. Can we have our summer back?
I hear you.
Bring it back.
Yeah, I mean that's bonkers. I heard it got what it get down to like in the 20s. Is that what I heard?
Yes, it did. Oh my good gracious.
What?
My dogs were loving it because they're, Corgish dogs, so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
love the cold. But the rest of us, not so much. Couldn't feel
not so
fingers,
much.
toes, ice on the cars. You're like, whoa, hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, you're like I didn't move down here for that.
No, 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 I did not.
I didn't move down there for that. Um, yeah, I mean, I just drove up to Mount Hood. Um, when was that? Last week sometime. I was just just spur of the moment. I was like, let me go up on the mountain. I just wanted to, I like to go up there because I feel close to the spirit. It's quiet and I I I I got to tell you, if there was a foot of snow, I would be surprised. In some areas, there was probably a foot, like in the drifts, probably about a foot, but like
Uh,
just out, like like I don't even know how people are skiing. There's doesn't seem to be enough snow on the mountain, and so
you
they're
would think
worried
with,
about if, yeah, they're worried if there's going to be if there's fires, you know
uh,
they need the rain because they need the forest to be a little bit damp during the summer because it gets warm, and it's drier up in that elevation. It's problematic in the summer. So I don't know. I'm like, maybe we could use a good dumping, to between now and and late spring. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's strange times, strange times. And do you think that the Earth is changing also because the level of consciousness with humanity, the collective consciousness is increasing. People are waking up. Do you think that has a lot to do with it too?
I think it's a twofold thing, because thoughts have power, you know,
Yes.
and collective thoughts have a lot of power. But even one individual's thought can change reality, for them and somebody else. So part of it, I think, is it's just the timeline where, at the beginning, whomever I say creator personally said, okay, when it reaches this amount of resonance, we're shifting into another timeline.
Right.
When the energy falls below this signature, we're shifting to another timeline because we don't
Right.
need to go any lower, you know. And I think that's also going to work in the opposite direction as well. Once we raise our signature and we get so high, I think once again, it's got that cap on it where it's going to say, okay, here on Earth, we can only resonate so high. And then
Right.
after that, you
Yeah.
can't resonate that high on Earth anymore because you're basically going to kind of like resonate yourself on up and out, you know, to
Yeah.
the geographical force, or it would be too high for the energy here.
Yeah. I've been speaking of all of that, right? And the energies and all of that. I've been in observation on social media and I see a lot of folks crashing out with the information that's being dropped and lots of folks that are not able to be in control of their thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and this is a time that we really have to really hold the line and hold the vibe for folks because and really be that be that person that is loving and patient and kind and compassionate because a lot of folks are crashing out and um, so one thing that I want to say about that, just my perspective on everything, is that we know that the list, the files, whatever you want to call it, have been dropped, and they continue to drop out information because they're pacing it. I believe so that we don't have too many folks crashing out all at the same time. And I think to keep in mind that not everyone is bad. Not everyone is involved in it just because they're mentioned in the files. Many of those folks are in the same orbit, so of course, they're going to cross paths. But I think, as the information comes out, we'll understand who is involved and all of that. So I just want to say that to, withhold the judgment because, it's emotionally provoking when we have children involved. I am very compassionate about it because, I crashed out and I don't know about you if you went down that rabbit hole, but I did. And, I say a long time ago, probably right around when I met you, which was in late 19, early 2020. So yeah, I mean, it's all a part of the process of waking up, and we just have to hold space for those folks. I think that's so important, and not to get sucked into it because you can easily get sucked into it. So with that, one thing I do want to say about Trish is that, I started going to Trish for Reiki, and I, didn't I didn't tell you anything. And I did that on purpose because, you're the real deal. You really are. And there's things that you knew that I didn't tell you. And well, that's kind of hard. If I didn't tell you, you must have heard it from who you hear it from. So she's the real deal. I can vouch for that. So with that, sister, take us back to 2008 and what was happening in your life when meditation first called you in.
Absolutely. So when you're talking about the crash, that's kind of what happened to me. Not kind of, that is. I was a completely different person back then. I had not worked through my childhood trauma. I was very controlling. I was very time orientated. I had no patience. I would yell at the drop of a hat just because I couldn't stand for anything to be on my nerves. And it finally dawned on me that I didn't like that person. That was not who I wanted to be. And it was only because I was actually yelling at my daughter one day and I heard it in my head and I went, "What are you doing? That's don't no, what are you doing?" And then I was like, "Okay, this is not where I want to be. What do I do?" And I just happened to be going to the bookstore as a trip with my family, and something just led me over to this other section that I never go in because I always read the romance books. And all of a sudden, I'm over here in metaphysics and spirituality, meditation. I'm like, okay, alrighty then. And all of a sudden, I just look up and there's this book that says Meditation Within by James Von Prawn. And I'll never forget the name of that book because it was the first time that something just drew me. Like my eyes just went, and it's a little book, literally. It is a little book. It
Wow.
is not very big. And all of a sudden, I just felt like this warmth come over me, and I'm like, okay, that's just really weird. All right. So I'm like, well, all right, I guess I'll
Yeah.
get it. I mean, it can't hurt me, right? So I did read it, and it gave some really helpful hints about meditation. So when I started meditating, I started getting rid of a lot of the negative energy that was surrounding me. Because it was like I would just like put it in a little box, or I'd tell it, okay, you can't control me anymore. Uh, It took a long time. For someone that's ADD and has monkey mind, it literally took me about 6 months to learn how to meditate. So when you are starting this practice, don't think you're going to get it in a New York minute. Some people, yes. Some people can slink in like bam and they don't have not a problem. Other people, it's a process. And for me, when I tell people that I talk to or train or teach, meditation is simply something that helps to calm the mind so that you can complete one thought at a time. Once you can do that, then you can get to sitting in the silence that is not silent when you're sitting in it, because you will hear a world of infinite sounds that the human ears don't hear because our voices drowned it out. But when you get to that world, a whole another realm opens up to you because you're like, whoa, what the hey? You know, you can literally hear a butterfly sing when
Beautiful.
you're in that realm. But not everybody reaches it, and that's okay. And not everybody wants to reach it, and that's okay too. We're all here for our own journey. So there's no right, there is no wrong. It's whatever resonates with you. I did not mean to go that deep. That's not what I had set out to do.
Right. I think the spirit had other things in mind for you. You didn't want to, but spirit was like, "Oh, well, guess what? You
Pretty
are."
much. They brought
That's
me kicking and
amazing.
screaming because I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, my friend.
So talk about that shift. Like, how did you feel and like what were the emotions that you were going through in that time where you started to go into the practice of, because it's about discipline, right? When we sit
It
and
is.
meditate, it's about discipline. Yeah.
Especially for someone who, as you can see, I don't sit still. So learning how to meditate where I actually sat still was a very big practice. Um, I will say, everybody always says it's peaceful, but I will be very honest with you. That was not my journey. My journey was when I started with the meditation, I was pissed. I was upset. I was irritated. Why do I have to sit still? Why do I have to sit still? Why can't I have my brain jumping around? So one, my irritation had to get away from, that being so dialed in to allow me to expand. And once I started to expanding, then it was, okay, is this really real? Am I really hearing what I think I'm hearing? Do I really feel this peace? Because when you're not used to feeling at peace, you think it's a trick. When your body starts letting go of that stress and you don't feel the tension in whatever part of your body you carry your tension in. A lot of people, it's your shoulders and their neck, but for other people, it's wherever they were injured at. So if you had a major injury, a lot of times your tension will go there. So it's like when you start not having that stress on
The
you,
weight of the world. The weight
right?
of the world. Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
your mind goes, but this, just doing this can't be alleviating my physical issue. It can't be making me easier to deal with, as in other people are finding it easier to deal with me.
Yeah.
You're finding it easier to
Right.
deal with yourself. So
Right.
it is really this whole mental, physical, emotional um interweaving that goes on. And it's like you really don't know which is coming first. Is it my physical that I don't hurt so much, so now I'm not so mentally, irritated, which is making me a little bit more emotionally easy to deal with because I'm not always in pain, or I'm
Yeah.
not always this or I'm not always that. So it's a very interesting journey, and you never could really say which came first, which part of it came
Right.
first. It was just like this ladder that went bim 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 bim. Um, but once I started understanding and feeling and kind of checking in, and I think that was also those of us that are ADD and ADHD, we don't like to check in. And I will tell you that for a fact. I know a lot of people that are ADD and ADHD. My children are too. We don't like to check in. It's either we don't like to check in mentally or we don't like to check in physically. We don't like to check in emotionally. And if we don't check in and we're forced to check in, by doing the meditation, that irritates us because now I got to pay attention to something I didn't want to focus on.
Yeah.
Because if I continue to move,
Right.
I don't have to pay attention to something in my body hurts because I'm moving.
Exactly. If I can be doing all this
Right,
and
because if my left arm's hurting,
it's
I'm over here moving my right one, so I'm not focused so
yeah,
much on the left
yeah,
one. So it's
yeah,
those of us that are ADD and ADHD. That's one thing that we tend to not. So it's a little bit harder for us too.
yeah. So when you were going through that journey, because I know when I started to really move along in mine, like there were times that I just was like catatonic in a way where I just was like like laid out, like just literally so exhausted from all of the processing of like
Mm-hmm.
the traumas and things that I had experienced in this life and other lives. We'll get into that, but like just processing all of that. Like, where is this coming from? And where is that coming from? And it's like, it's kind of like uh, I don't know, like a spiritual fatigue, maybe how
Yes.
I would describe it, where it's just like not necessarily a physical, but like you're just tired. And and so someone that's used to moving, like you, like myself, because I I I don't like to label myself, but the ADD has been an issue because but it's very strange because I can take in all kinds of information and it's like I save it. I save it and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to access it later. But um and the movement and all of that, that there was points in my journey that I literally was catatonic. And it's like then the ego's like, oh, you're lazy. You're lazy. And it's like, you know what? Sit down. No, I'm not. I'm doing I'm doing a lot of work. And so it's that fine balance of having, really practicing self-compassion, giving yourself grace, um, and self-understanding, right? During this whole concept of self-realization where you're realizing, whoa, like
Yeah.
I'm changing as a person. But then also looking back, taking inventory and looking back and saying, wow, like I used to do this, that, and this. Like you were saying, I used to be angry. I used to be irritated. And now I have the ability where I can harness this new emotional intelligence and I can be in control of my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And um, I think that's what meditation has done for me. It quiets it down, right? It quiets the noise down. It helps me stay in a place where I'm conscious of my breath, like
Uh-huh.
if I see something that I get a little fired up, because hey, we do have, righteous indignation. So, every now and again when we see a lot of the crazy stuff that goes on in this world and um but being
Yeah.
able to really uh deep get get into that deep breathing right into the gut and really like just slow it all down, slow that amygdala down and just because we want to when you're looking at all of that the energies of shame and pride
Mm-hmm.
and guilt and all of that, you're processing all of that. It can be a little overwhelming. So the breath is really important to to harness all of that, right? Um so so let's get into talking about our friends, right? When did you first become aware of when did you become
Laugh because back then I really thought I was crazy. Okay. Like I literally, my life was my husband, my 2 kids, and work. I had no friends. Okay.
yeah,
Well, I take that lie back. I had 3 friends from high school that I got to see like once a month. Okay.
yeah,
But other than that,
yeah,
I had no friends. Uh,
yeah,
but all of a sudden, something would be tugging my hair. Now, I worked in corporate and, had headphones on, typing away. So at first I thought, my hair was getting caught in my headphones and it was always back in a ponytail. So I was like, well, maybe it's too tight. I'd take it out, put it back in. And I just didn't think anything of it. For whatever reason, I went to a reader one day and she looked at me and she goes, I just want you to know that there's something over on your right shoulder and it just pulled your hair. I said, you saw that? Oh my God. I'm so glad you saw that. She's like, well, no, I really didn't see it, but I saw it. She's like, I saw your hair move, but I didn't see what did it. But I heard friend in my head. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not going crazy. Or if I am, I'm taking someone else along. Yay! Why go by myself?
All aboard. Get on the crazy train, right?
Right? Why go by myself? And then when she told me that, I don't know, it was this interesting thing that just clicked in my head where when she said, that's your friend, I went, oh, wow. I have somebody that I can't see, can't hear, but I can feel. So then when I actually started paying attention, I could actually feel the energy because I'm energy based. So I was like, okay, wow. Then all of a sudden I would hear noises. So now he's talking to me. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. So he was my first one. And a lot of times guides don't like you to tell what they are or their names because names are power. But he doesn't care. He's like, I'm a badger. I'm proud. Oh yeah. So my badger was my first one and he's the emotional center because he's all about having fun. He's all about staying present in the moment, because that's kind of like badgers have to be, on the lookout, but they're also like, ha ha, popping up. I'm going to get you.
Let's have fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what he was. So I'm really glad he was my first one because it kind of set the parameter for me to be able to learn how to find, understand, and deal with the rest of my gang. My gang. I started with
So
one.
when did you become aware of the guides or your guardians or helpers that are around you?
Honestly, I started meditating in 2008. 2010 is when I started noticing him. No, 2009. 2009 is when I started noticing him, like early 2009. Then by the end of 2009, I had found my other ones that came in to say hello because they were teaching me how to do energy healing. And I'm like, okay, I didn't have a human teacher for anything I learned. I learned it all by myself.
Wow.
Trial and error by myself with these guys, just it was a lesson in learning to listen.
Yeah.
But it was also a lesson in trust because
which is hard for us humans.
It is very hard for us humans. But we have such a hard time listening. I mean, like really listening. If something gives you that ooh feeling, then you shouldn't be doing anything else because that ooh feeling, that's your intuition saying, okay, you got some pretty words that you're throwing at me, but under that is something that's not good for me. So this was a lesson of me having to listen to the flow rather than to the words. So it was a very interesting lesson. It was very rough too, because I found that they don't all talk the same language.
Interesting.
They don't all talk on the same frequency either. So you have to learn every single language of every single guide.
Wow. That's interesting. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I mean, I know that I have guides, but I shouldn't say that because, maybe I am a little bit confused about it because, like, for instance, with this podcast, I woke up one morning and it was like, get podcast guests. And I'm like, what? okay, can you help me? Like, where do I start? And it was like,
Okay.
radio silent. And I'm like, okay, and then I'm like connecting with myself and I'm like, okay, where would I do that? Okay, let me go to Facebook. And then I went to Facebook and I, was looking for groups and put it out there. And it was like, boom, 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 one
Mm-hmm.
right after the other. Right. So I had this massive wave that came in of folks that wanted to be on the podcast. And then I, I think probably a few days ago, I put out another one. And then now I got now this next wave. It's like, it's wild when you really are tuned into that frequency and you listen. And so I got a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think that we have been I mean, I just want your perspective on this. Why do you think it is that they condition us that all of this woo woo stuff is cray cray? That all of it's Why do you think they do that? Meaning the people that
Yeah, like,
have the control and are obsessed with control
I
over
know what you
human beings.
mean.
Yeah.
It's all about fear is the major one. Fear, power,
Yeah.
control. And
Yeah.
it's almost in that exact order. The first and foremost is fear. Because if I know for a fact that somebody other than my physical self and these physical people that I can see with my physical eyes are here occupying the same space that I am currently sitting in, but I can't see them and I'm not open to it. Now I'm afraid
Yeah.
because there's things around me that I can't see. But there's things around you that you can't see all the time. You can't see the air, but it's
No,
around you. It keeps you
but it's around
alive.
us, right?
So, uh,
And
so the biggest
God
thing,
created the air.
right?
You breathe in the air, you can't see it, but it is the breath of God, because if you don't breathe, you die in this physical. So you don't see that, but you know that it exists and you know that you need it in order to sustain life. So
Correct.
yeah, it's
And then you've got
uh
control. If I can get the
yeah, yeah,
majority of the people to think the same way that I do, the person that is actually more open and more in tune and more feeling, more authentic, they are going to now be the outcast. So now they're not going to speak up because they don't want to be different. So now I have coerced everybody to be in my little sandbox, which means I get to control the story. Which means I get to control whether or not you can and can't see things, because if I told you they're not real, I've taken your storyline and I've hijacked it and I've made you put on the blinders and turn off your collar, so to speak. And that's pretty much what they're, and it all stems from fear.
yeah,
And because
yeah,
in my personal view, humans are batteries. Okay. We are all made of energy. Every single one of us are made of energy. Some people contain a tremendous amount of energy. They have no limit. Other people are, they can only hold this amount of a charge. So when you're dealing with energy and you can only see frequency 127, and yet the things that you can't see are operating on frequency 630, even though you would love to see it, you're never going to be able to because your battery is not strong enough to pick up the signal.
right,
So now
right.
I've taken that fear and I've allowed it to control me. So now I'm controlling everybody else because I can't see it, neither can you.
It's interesting. I like that perspective. It's interesting that you say that because Uh, well, I lost my mom in 99, and shortly after she passed away, uh, my cousin, she had given birth to her son, her oldest son. So he was a toddler, at that time. And he was outside and he was talking. He's just talking. And my aunt was like, "Who are you talking to?" And he's like, "What?" She said, "Who are you talking to?" "Well, Aunt Barb." He was like, "Aunt Barb, she's right here." And my aunt was like, "Really? Well, she didn't say, 'No, you're not,' "Oh, she passed away." She said, "Well, tell me about it. Like, well, what is she saying?" "Oh, we're just sitting here, we're playing, and she's doing really good and all this." And so my aunt was telling us this, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I so believe this." Even back then, I was like, I believe this. I've always kind of been that intuitive where I could read a room, feel the energy of a room, walk in the energy of the room, and know when somebody's running their mouth about you.
Yep.
Could could feel the energy, know kind of what people are thinking in a way. And that has amplified in my journey. Like, that is
Oh yeah.
amplified. I could walk into a room, and now I understand the power of that, and how you can shift the dynamic of the room, right? If you walk into it and it feels, dense or um, um, stagnant, or what,
Muddy.
muddy, dark, whatever it may be. What's so bonkers too is about 3 years ago. Yeah, it's 3 years ago. In 23, I lost a friend. It it was my friend Jason, and he was married to my friend Sarah. I knew Sarah first, and they got married. I was in their wedding, and I sang at their wedding. And so Jason passed away, and they live in Seattle, so I went up to be with her. And I went out to eat with um, her mother and her aunt. We just went and grabbed a bite to eat. I think just at like something like breakfast. I think it may have been Denny's. I don't know if it was Denny's or not, but the trunk on the car popped open. He used to sell cars. So I went out, I'm like, "I'll go close it." I walk out, I close it. It pops again. I go out, I close it. And then it pops again. And I was like, "Jason,
Yep.
quit."
Ew.
And I told them, I go, "That's Jason. He's letting us know he's okay. He's okay." And they were like, "What?" They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm getting the chills. He's one of my guides. He comes in every now and again. He's probably here. It's just like, it was so bonkers. And I was like, he's okay. And I told Sarah when I was able to tell Sarah, whenever she was able to handle it. And, I gauged that. But they're truly, it's truly, it's freaking cool. It's so cool.
It
It's like,
is.
we're made of energy, and we don't, it does, that energy just transforms. After my mom
Yes.
passed away, like, I was laying in my bed and I was crying, and I was just like, I cannot believe this just happened. Like, I can't believe she's gone. And I felt this feeling. It wasn't like somebody putting their hand on my body, but I could feel the energy, and it was like, it was soothing me. Like, it was rubbing me on the back. Whether that was my mother, whether it was God, I have no idea. But I've had these experiences, and I know that I'm not nuts. I know that it's happening for real. And so it's like, I've always known this. And it is so cool. It's so freaking cool when you're open to it, and you're open. That's the whole thing, is being open, um and all of that. So So with that, let me ask you this, because you know, the religious programming, we've been told about demons and all of this and all of that. So do demons exist?
Oh,
Or is it
yes, they do.
okay? So let's talk a little bit about that, because I'm like, that darkness. Remember when that happened? I called you when I was in Seattle and I was like, something's going on. Like, I feel like I'm being compressed.
Huh?
It was like there was a darkness, not necessarily that was associated with Jason, but just a darkness of being in that city. And I felt like I was being squeezed. Remember that? And it
Mm-hmm.
was like you saw that it was like mud. You described it as I was covered in mud. So what was that all about?
Depending on who you talk to, some people don't believe in demons, and that's fine too. Because, like I said, everybody
Yeah,
has their own journey. So I don't do a
right.
right or wrong
Right.
thing. Um,
Absolutely.
there are natural born demons, okay? Natural born demons, just as above, so below, okay?
Mm,
In my belief system, as above, so below.
yeah,
Angels are
yeah,
above us, correct? Humans
right,
are, you know, middle earth, basically.
right,
Below us, below our feet would be hell,
right,
if that's what you want to call
right.
it. So the things that were born there, those are demons because they have never known love. They have never seen the light of day. They have never known compassion. They have never known gratitude. So the things that are natural born demons are the things that were never given a shred of light. Okay. And just like us humans, there's levels, right? So of course, when you have levels, the higher your level, the worse off you are. The- So in my, there's the ones that are, natural born, and then there's ones that are created. So created demons would be those that are human, that have lost many, many pieces of their souls. Because without a soul, we can only miss so many pieces of it. Because every time you have a trauma, a little piece breaks off. And that's part of this journey. Nobody gets through it whole. That's the way it goes. Uh, but it's almost like we have this little marker that says once we get to this point, if we don't start finding good stuff to bring back in to kind of fill in the pieces, or if we don't start doing our shadow work or putting our traumas to rest so that they can fill back in, we go dark so that we don't have compassion for anyone anymore. We don't give a flying flip what happens to somebody because it doesn't affect me. I don't care.
So do
Yeah,
you think
those.
that's what do you think that, not to interrupt you, but do you think that's what we're seeing right now going on in this shift, right? This separation of the two timelines, right?
Yep. So what,
Yeah.
from my perception, what I'm seeing is the human-born demons. They would be considered low levels, but basically the ones that are the I don't care. I don't have empathy, kindness, compassion for anyone or anything, financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, the whole nine yards. Those people are clinging and trying to keep the rest of us from bringing that timeline up so that we can start going, oh, look, the sky is above us and it's beautiful. Do you see that cloud? The Creator made this gorgeous day so that I could breathe air, gave me a tree that would help to keep the carbon dioxide from building up in my system. There are so many things that we can have gratitude for, that we can have compassion for, that we can have empathy for, that they don't want us to focus on that. Because when we focus on that, we bring that energy up, and they don't want the energy to be up because that makes them uncomfortable. So now they have the option of, do I go all the way dark? And if I go all the way dark, now my options are limited on this physical realm. Or do I, you know, come over here to the light, which I don't want to be in because it's making me uncomfortable. So this next period, and my guides have told I swear sometimes it's like a three-way circus up there. But I keep hearing everybody says that this shift is going to be quick because you're like, you're the horse, it's coming in quick. Nope. This shift is going to take, they're telling me, and they're showing me the exact number. They said 2.75.
2.75 years?
Yep.
Wow.
So it's going to be an almost a 3-year shift where it will be completed. They're like,
Yeah.
but it's coming in quick because it's kind of like in the football and in life,
Yeah.
you're rushing in, you knock somebody off your feet, you can get a little further ahead before they get up to chase you, right? So now if I can get ahead of your darkness, I can grab a few more people that are lingering, that aren't sure, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? Do I really want to stay down in this ick that constantly makes me feel like crap? Physically, I'm not feeling so great. Or do I want to take the chance and have, you know, this light up here with this gratitude, and made my heart a little happy when I said, "Oh, look how beautiful that is." It's all about energy. Everything is about energy.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Now you can live life elevated with superior wellness through the transformational power of light. Every second, thousands of biochemical signals are sent throughout the body using wavelengths of light. At LifeWave, our products are designed to harness that light in unique ways to optimize ultimate energy flows. Our global community is united by light, offering the promise of health, vitality, and opportunity through the power of synergy. 3 of our groundbreaking innovations together promote the ultimate in healthy living and offer you an opportunity, a 3-in-1 system that can change lives. Welcome to the future of wellness. It begins with X39, our breakthrough light-activated patch that taps into the body's natural ability to renew, restore, and perform at its best. Cellergize is a complete cellular energy and recovery system designed to fuel your day, support your mind, and recharge your body. And then, our all-new LifeWave X2O, a patented breakthrough in hydration science that dispenses light-infused water at the touch of a button. This is hydration reinvented. LifeWave X2O, when consumed daily, aids in proper hydration to support the effectiveness of X39 and Cellergize, boosting energy flows, nutrient absorption, metabolic activity, oxygen uptake, even activating key physiological responses. A power system of synergy. Together, more powerful than when separate. An innovative 3-in-1 system to intensify overall effectiveness. Because when your body is powered by light, energy flows and everything comes to life. It's time to build a foundation of hydration, energy, and recovery to fuel you, your body, and your business. LifeWave, the power of synergy. One system making it simple to start, share, and succeed. Awaken your potential. Experience the power of synergy. Share the light. LifeWave.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting times. And, I believe what you're saying, because if we look back at when all this began, right? Like, I mean, I know it began before COVID, but there was a shift there, right? And that was
Oh,
six-ish years ago, a little bit over 6 years ago, right? And so I totally believe what you're saying, because we we've seen that it's taking all of this time. And I think, I said this to my friend. I said, you know, the creator knows exactly how this is going down. And
yeah.
there's mercy in it. If we think about it, it's mercy. We're not just flipping on the light, get up, hey, let me dump all
Yeah.
this information onto you. And, you know, because if we did that, you think about that would fracture the psyche.
Yep.
So I think
That's funny
what's
because I got the
happening,
envision of imploding. I was like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I, I've, I, and, I think that we've been conditioned for instant, we want things done now, instant gratification. That's been part of that whole conditioning, that we're learning how to be patient with this process, because it's not all about Jamie. It's not all about Trish. It's about the collective, and that, it's going to take time. So at the same time, we're cultivating this patience, and which, hey, if we're going to walk like Jesus did on the earth, then that's patience, that's loving, that's kind, that's understanding, that's compassionate, that's grace, that's have mercy. It's not about me. It's not happening fast enough. No, it's happening right on time, because God is always on time. And so and it's not, unfortunately, I think we're all learning, right? And if we're open to this process, you can see the beauty in it, right? And you can be grateful. In the beginning, I wasn't so grateful that I'm like, I want to go back to sleep. Thank you. This is terrible.
I remember.
I'm like, this is effing terrible. And I know I've bitched to you about it. I'm like, Trish, this is terrible. Like, I don't like this. And it's like, no, and even when I'm like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this. And you're like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean no? And it's like, oh my God, she's right, because it's not happening on the way, what I want. Right. So it's like, it's this whole process of surrender. Let go. You don't have control. The only thing that you have is faith that it's taking, that God is always on time and it's being taken care of. God has the right people at the right time for the right mission to do whatever it is that's going to happen. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and there's nothing that can be done about it. There's nothing that can stop what is coming. You just have to worry about yourself, worry about your own journey, and understand that. And this was something I had to learn, that I'm not responsible for waking anybody up. It's not my responsibility. I'm responsible for myself, for my soul's evolution. And I can share the wisdom along the way with folks. And that's it, like, to inspire them. But it's not my responsibility to wake anyone up. And so that's, you look back at it and it's like, wow, like, this truly has been this plan. God's got this. He's got this on lock. The Spirit has it on lock, that everything is going to happen the way that it is. And the moment that we start to kink the hose and not let the flow go through, then we're creating suffering for ourselves.
Yep.
And it's this constant state of being in the belief that believing that the unseen it's handled, right? Like, we're not doing this by ourselves. There are benevolent there's benevolent beings that are assisting, and it is an amazing time to be alive, because we're seeing people, like, literally wake up, and it is like such an amazing thing. And if you stay on this journey to evolve and expand, that you really can look back and say, wow. And another thing, I think there's this misconception that everyone's going to wake up. And I don't believe that. And I think the reason for that is there has to be some sort of contrast. So there are souls that have agreed to provide that contrast, so that I'm able to look and say, okay, this is my growth. Wow. Thank you. And it gives me an opportunity to have that gratitude. Thank you so much for this experience, Spirit. And to learn how to establish boundaries. Say again?
My battery's going dead. I need to go get my battery.
Oh no.
Yeah, it drains the battery real quick. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's an amazing time, I believe, to be alive. We're seeing this and that's why I named this podcast Harness the Shift, because those that are harnessing it, they understand it. It's like a roller coaster sometimes. And
That it is.
yeah. And it's all good, it's all good. And we just have to stay in the present and take one day at a time. One day at a time, sister.
Now that's a bright light.
Yeah, that's a bright light. I love it. So I'm sorry I got off on that tangent, but you mentioned, and I would like for you to talk about this. When you talk about your guides, what do you mean by when you say they taught you, and what did that learning process actually look like?
Ooh, that was fun. So, what I mean by they taught me is literally, they taught me how to heal. I was working in corporate, and I had this one girl, and every morning she would always say, "Man, Trish, my head hurts so bad." As we're making our coffee every day, every day, every day, and then all of a sudden, one of my guides went, and I'm like, "I'm not touching her. I'm at work. I'm not touching her. You gotta be crazy." First of all, I'm a Taurus, okay? So I'm very stubborn. That's one of the traits that I do have, and I will admit to. I am very stubborn, so it takes me a lot longer to learn something because I'm like, yep, nope, not happening.
I'm an Aquarius. I
So it
understand the stubbornness.
about 2 weeks, and the only reason I finally touched this person was because every time I was around her and they tell me to touch her, they would literally make me hot. Like my whole entire body would freaking go up in flames. And I'm like, oh, oh, I'm too young to be having hot flashes. I'm only in my 30s,
Yeah,
And as soon as
yeah.
I'd walk away and get halfway back to my desk, I would feel like normal again. So about 2 weeks after they kept telling me that, finally I just put my hand on her shoulder, and she goes, "Wow, your hand's kind of warm." I said, "Well, I hope your head feels better." And then my hand stopped. I went, "Well, that's kind of weird." Okay.
Hmm.
I see her at lunchtime, and she's like, "Oh my God, Trish, my head feels so good. This is the first time, and I don't know how long, that I have not had a headache." And I went, "Okay, let's put two and two together here.
Right?
Let's put two and two together here. Huh." So I
Yeah.
was like,
Huh.
hmm. And I heard him go, "Well, let's experiment." I said, "Okay." So the next day, I was like, "Nope, I know that didn't happen. That did not work." So I didn't say nothing the next day. They lit me up. I'm like turning beet red, sweat pouring down me. I'm not touching her. Why? Because I didn't think it worked. It was a fluke. It wasn't that I was physically helping somebody. Yeah, no, come on now. I was like, no. Another 3 days go by. Finally, I'm tired of being a human torch. I'm telling you.
Wow.
So I put my hand on her again. I said, "I hope your head feels better." Once again, lunchtime, she's like, "Trish, my head feels great." She's like, "You know what? That's only the second time. What are you doing to me?"
She
And I
picked
looked
up
at her
on
and
it
said,
real quick.
"I don't know."
She picked up on it real quick.
She did. She did.
Hey.
There's nobody out there. Stop.
Yeah, art does that too. It's like, I think they can sense stuff too.
Oh, these guys
Animals.
do. Baxter, especially, he's very, very tuned to energy. Like,
He's a cutie.
there are spirits that flit in and out of my house all the time because my house has now become a way station for the ones that need healed to come, and I give them what they need and the time frame that they need it so that their soul can move on to the next phase. So my house has become a way station, which makes it
Super
interesting
cool.
at times. But no,
bet.
so to go back, in what I meant by them teaching me was things like that, where they would literally give me a physical sensation until I did whatever it was that they were trying to tell me I needed to do. So, and that's how they taught me healing. After I
Interesting.
started touching that girl, and I did it every day for a week, and every single day she did not have a headache. And I went, okay. So then for a couple of days I didn't do it. She had a headache. So I'm like, okay, so there's something going on here. So then I was telling one of my friends, because now I'm divorced. Now I actually have a friend. Amazing how that worked, right? A human friend, guys. A human friend. So, just so you know, I now have a human friend.
Human friend, let me just, let me clarify.
Right, because I had a whole bunch that weren't. And I was telling her about it, and she goes, "Do you think you can help me?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's just that person that I'm able to help, or if it's a fluke kind of thing, or what." She's like, "Well, my ankle hurts. Why don't you see if you can help it?" And I'm like, "Can't hurt. All right, let me see your ankle." As soon as I put my hands on her ankle, my hands started getting hot. My arms started getting hot, and I went, "What the heck is all this crap?" Oh, they're like, "Oh, healer." Okay. So, like, this is not like a fluke kind of thing. I'm actually a healer. They're like, yep. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So that's how I learned how to do healing.
That is so
and it was
amazing.
all energy healing. So it was all just the physical body. Well, from there, I was doing energy healing for a couple of years, and then I kept noticing that if it was a specific thing that kept coming back, that there was something else attached to it. That's when I realized that emotions and your mental play into the energies that stay in the physical energy, in the physical wounds. So that's when I learned Reiki. But I was an energy healer and proficient at energy a long time before I took Reiki. So it was like, okay. So for me, it was this organic evolution of them pushing me to the next step, and me stumbling back 5 or 6 times, finding the steps again, stumbling back again because I can't do anything in a straight line or the easy way. That's not in my vocabulary. And for 98% of the time, having the only teachers were ones I couldn't see.
Yeah.
So
wow,
I had to learn to trust. And that's a process, learning to trust.
It is. It's a process to learn how to trust yourself.
Yes.
So with that, so for someone who's never sensed guidance before, how would you explain the difference between intuition and fear? Because a lot of times, I mean, I manifest in the sacral, right? My intuition, my gut instinct, right? But so does fear. So how do we know which one is which? If we're still beginning, you know what I'm saying? I know, because we've been doing this, but it's someone who's starting out. How do they recognize what is my intuition? What is fear?
So, and I actually teach a class on spirit communications, which I need to get back to doing, but the difference is when it's fear, there's never a good feeling. Okay? Never a good feeling when it's fear. Whether you say something good and you still don't get the good feeling, that's fear. I've been looking forward to this trip. I can't wait to go. But in the inside, your stomach's doing this little hard bowl rolling knot thing. That's fear talking. Okay? The first thing that you have to learn when you're dealing with intuition, and guides is your body's signals. Your individual body's signals. So what I tell people to do is there is a word. If you do not know what it is, I will be happy to tell you. It's called kinesiology. Okay? Kinesiology is extremely simple. Anybody can do it. A child can do it because it is simply your body's yes or no system. Your body will not lie. And why? Because your body is made of nothing but energy that is unique to you, and your own energy knows what is good for you and what is not. End of story. You can tell yourself the biggest lie. Your energy knows what's good for you and what is not. Okay? So the
Absolutely.
2 ways to do kinesiology is, 1, always ask your base questions. These are questions that you need 3 of them that are true and 3 of them that are false, and that's how you get your baseline reading. Okay? You can either use the back and forth system, yes, forward, back, no. Or you can use the interlocking system. Your fingers stay interlocked, you're strong, that's yes. Your fingers come apart, that's no. So let's all together do 3 so that you can understand what I'm saying. Pick the system that you want, forward and backwards or interlocking, okay? The first thing is going to be, what is your name? Say what your name actually is. Say, Jamie, let's go with you. My name is Jamie.
Jamie. My name is
My
Jamie.
name is Charlie.
My name is Charlie. Oh,
Okay. You ready? Start again. I am, how old are you, Jamie?
I am 55.
Okay, now I am 32. Okay. And then you always need to do 3. So you're female. You identify as a female, Jamie?
I do.
Okay. So I'm a female. I'm a male. Your body knows the truth of every single thing. You can use kinesiology to test anything in your life. That goes with your spirit guides, that goes with food, that goes with friendships, that goes with money, that goes with jobs. Anything in your entire life, you can use kinesiology to help you make a decision. Okay? But that is what I tell people when I'm telling them how to connect with their guides. Is you have to know your own body's yes and no's. How am I going to be able to connect with a helper if I don't even know my own yes and no's? How am I going to tell my helper what my yes and no is if I don't know what my yes and no is? Okay, so kinesiology we use for ourselves. When we're talking to our helpers, we need to set our yes and our no, like color, sound, saying, something that makes you go, yay, that's your yes. Something that makes you go, that's your no. But they have to be at 2 ends of the spectrum. So I can't use green for yes and red for no because they're too close together.
Right.
Okay. But I can use, that can be kind of ambiguous, but I can use, the shape of the sun is my yes. And then I can use the color black as no. So they're 2 very different ends of the spectrum. I can use, loud pitched sounds for no because they hurt my ears. That's an absolute no for me. And I can use flutes as a yes. So you can do any kind of mix and match, but it's learning your body's cues. Okay, that's the kinesiology, and setting your language is how you learn to communicate with your guides.
Interesting.
Yep. The first thing you should always set is your yes and your no. How else are you going to have a relationship if you don't establish a yes and a no?
I haven't I've not used this, but I'm gonna use it.
Yeah. So for anyone that's even thinking about it, give kinesiology a try. It really can help in a lot of situations because there will be times where we think something is good for us. We really want the answer to be yes, and we'll test and the answer is no. And you're like, that can't be right. Let me get my pendulum out. The pendulum's like, "Are you gonna try me?" No. The answer is no.
Yeah. I remember when you told me in 23, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do the coaching, and you're like, right now, Spirit says no. I'm like,
Yeah, and I didn't want to give you that message, but Spirit told me to.
no.
So I was like,
Hey,
all right.
the truth hurts sometimes, and that's okay. Everything is in divine timing. It's like, and I've learned that. Like,
Yep.
when you try to force things, you try to control things, like, every time you're going to get knocked up against the ropes. It's just, that's the way it is like, just
Yes.
surrender. When you surrender, you're in the flow, and it's like, so I'm just like, all right, whatever you want me to do. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to? Are you doing the Reiki these days anymore? Because I know you're working a day
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, I know I'm working a day job. So I do virtual on request, and I will only be doing that like 2 days a week because I do work a full-time job. But I do want to keep helping people. That is like my passion and my goal. Yep.
Absolutely.
So
Do
I
me a
have
favor.
decided.
Do you see where the chat is over on the right side of the thing? Pop can you pop your link for Facebook in there? Is your Facebook under your name? Okay, so I'll just pop your name in there.
Okay, because I don't know. Yeah, because I still have to change my my business pages over to Trish Trapnell.
Yeah. So they can reach out to you on um on social media,
Yep.
and um
And of course my phone number and my Yahoo email.
so this is her name. Trish Hapnell, you can find that.
It's not Hapnell, it's Trapnell.
Oh shoot, I did that again, didn't I?
Yes, you
It's
did.
Trapnell. Jesus, why do I do that?
I don't
Trapnell.
know. Maybe you're trying to combine my name with my future person or something.
I don't
Maybe
know.
his
It's
name is
very
Happy.
strange.
What's your person's name,
Trapnell.
Trish? Happy. That's his name.
Do this. I sometimes do this, don't I? So Trapnell, and then what do you want to put your phone number in?
Sure. That
Okay.
is
239
440
440.
6786.
Okay. And we can show that there. Trish is in the Fort Myers area, so southwest of Florida area.
Yep.
For
So
those
mobile
that
is
are
the
listening.
first Saturday of the month.
Yeah.
Other than that, it is virtual only, which
So
is around the world.
on Saturdays. Yeah.
Yep. So I still do mobile one day a month, just
Good.
because the traffic down here is getting so horrendous that it literally takes an hour and a half to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, oof,
It sure does.
it's bad.
So you're also a shaman. Let's talk about that. What does that word mean to you personally?
Okay, so interestingly enough, I didn't even realize that's what I was doing until one of my, of course, one of my guides, who's actually a shaman, said, "What do you think I've been training you for, dummy?" And I'm like, I don't know. What? He's like, all this healing stuff, you're not supposed to be tapping into their past, their present, their future. That's shamanism. I'm like, oh, well, y'all didn't give me no handbook. You just started throwing stuff at me and I just followed the breadcrumbs. Okay.
Right.
And they're like, okay, but that's what shamanism does. Shamanism talks to the person's spirit rather than their physical. So when I'm doing a shamanic session, you can still hear me, but I'm no longer talking to your physical body. I am talking to your spirit. And I'll tell you that when I'm doing the session. And I'm having your spirit answer my questions. And it's very interesting because there will be times where the words coming out of the person's mouth in no way, shape, or form match what I'm hearing in my head. And it's like, and the first time that happened, I went, what the world? And then all of a sudden, her mouth shut and she went, did you hear that voice? I said, yeah, I heard that voice. That was your soul telling you to shut the hell up because you're lying. And she went, but you heard it? I said, yes, I was getting a little confused because the words I was hearing here and the words I was hearing here were not the same words. So it's learning to listen on a different level. And
Yeah. And
yeah,
not
so
coming
when
from the
you're
ego.
right, because when you're talking to their spirit, you're actually finding out what it is that what portion of their journey they're at now. What is it that they need help with? What is it that they need removed with? What is stopping them from being able to move forward? You know, like a great example, one of my clients is also one of my friends, very spiritual individual, had same issue every single time I'd see her. I didn't just see her out and about in community, and she was always like, "God dang, my right hip, my right hip, my right pelvis, my right pelvis, my right pelvis," and I'm like, "Girl, you know what? Let's get together one day and just trade sessions and see what's going on." And all of a sudden, Spirit said, "You're doing a shamanic session on her," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I get my rattling out, and I'm doing all kinds of stuff, and then I'm talking to her spirit, and I said, tell me where this is coming from. Why is this part hurting?" And then her spirit started telling me that it was a past lifetime that she brought into this lifetime. And because she hadn't resolved it, every time she got into a certain situation and had a certain feeling, it triggered that injury. But she couldn't release it because it wasn't her trauma. So because we're doing shamanism, I now had to go back, and they would tell me how many lifetimes. So I had to go back to X amount of lifetimes, talk to the person in that lifetime, and help them deal with the trauma so that it could be released in this lifetime.
Wow.
So it's a very intense, interesting, and I don't do it very often just because of the fact that it is a very deep, intense energy that I have to be in order to do it, because I never know what's going to happen. Some of them are really easy and quick, and others are not. So it's one of those you got to be prepared to either be an all day, drain my energy kind of thing, and I have to recharge for a long time to do it. But I love doing it. And shamanism is also about sound. So if I know for a fact that the only portion of the shaman that I'm doing is the instruments or the singing, that's much easier. Like they've been singing in my head ever since you started talking to me. Yeah. Like
God.
the angels have been singing in my head, and they're like, come on, sing, and I'm like, no, let's
not. Let's not say we did.
Right? And they're like,
That's
eventually we're gonna make you sing because we told you to. I'm like, this goes. But it's all about sound. When you're doing that portion of shamanism, it's about sound because the sound moves the energy. Does that make sense? So for me and my experience, shamanism is on two levels. It's on the energy sound level, or it's on the spiritual moving and figuring out where, having your spirit tell me where things are coming from and helping you to fix them. And this is just it. When I'm doing a shaman session, I am not fixing this. We are fixing this. Because if your soul is not willing to fix it, I can't do it for you.
Truly fascinating. And the whole past lives thing is so fascinating to me. Super fascinating.
Yeah, that's something I always struggle with because I'm like, okay, guys, I don't like to do past lives the way everybody else does them, so I don't do them. because I don't take people through a door and you go back, blah, blah. No, because in my belief system, if I'm doing that and you have any issues, you can bring those from those lifetimes back with you when you didn't have that issue to
To
start
this
with.
lifetime, yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I have an injury on my right arm and I know that it's coming from my 7th lifetime back, I can take you right to your 7th lifetime. Let's go fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's pretty.
that's why I do the shamanism that way. So I'm not taking you through, because what happens if in lifetime 3, 4, and 5 you had a bunch of trauma that you didn't solve, but because you passed through those lifetimes to get to 7, now when you come back to the present, I cured number 7, but I brought some shit from 3, 4, and 5 that I didn't need, but I brought them back with me.
My neck's been bothering me in this shift out of the snake
Some of it
to the
is.
horse.
Oh yeah, mine's been real bad. But they said do some intonations is what they really want people to start doing intonations.
Intonations.
Yeah.
Interesting. Really? To move that.
Yep.
Interesting.
And trust me, you don't have to be, a singer in order to do intonations. Intonation is namely the vowels, but it's however spirit moves you to do it. You can do it in a high register, you can do it in a low register, you can mix it on up. But for me, that's when the angels start singing to me, is when I start doing the intonations.
Yeah.
So, and like they're like, just sing.
Just sing. Just sing,
Right?
girl.
So what they keep hearing in my head is, but see how that
Yeah, going up
that chain goes up,
intonation.
down, up, down, up, down. This is what I hear, and they'll switch it up on me. Like they'll do O's, then they'll do U's, and then it'll be like a hard one and a soft one, and a hard one and a soft one, and a hard one and a soft one, and then it'll be like
Yeah.
this long drawn out note. So it's always this music that I'm hearing in my head when they tell me to intonate. So it's like, okay, and then they'll say, do it in your
I'll get
chest, and
right
you're like,
on
oh.
it. Yeah. So, what would you say is, why are we here? What is the meaning of life? Like, what's this
My
whole
goodness,
life thing about?
that's deep.
Super deep.
That is
Don't you
super
know
deep.
me by now? I'm super
I
deep.
do. Honestly, I think we are all here for the journey, not for the destination. I think Creator and his infinite wisdom knew that we would not be happy in the Garden of Eden with all things the same and with
Yeah.
utopia, because
Yeah.
he created us in his image. Think about that. If one
Yeah.
individual, one creator created the billions of us and we're all unique and we're all different and we all have our own special way of viewing, seeing, hearing, doing, loving, hating, caring, sharing, that individual knew that we would not be happy with the same because he wasn't.
Right.
Right? So if he
Right.
wasn't happy with the same, he knew his creations wouldn't be happy with the same. So the point is to start down at the bottom and to learn how to be as godlike, as creator-like as possible. Once you have reached that level, you are now an ascended master and you are no longer needed here on earth. Now you go be a teacher in another realm to help those that are struggling with whatever lesson it is that they're trying to learn. Because nobody was there in the beginning, right? But I'm pretty sure if Creator created us in his image, that means he had to have struggled with all these things too at one point in time, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I
Think
mean,
about that.
why would the creator send us here had he not gone through it himself?
Right. Had he not already gone through it and mastered it? So he knows it's possible. He's not going to send us down here to achieve something he has not achieved.
Exactly.
So he knows it's possible. So he's like, okay, you start here. I'll give you a couple of tools to get you started. And I'll give you some friends along the way. Let's see what you do with it.
Absolutely. So what do you think we are here? Like, so those that are going on this journey, I say, I said this earlier, it's not our responsibility to wake other people up, but we are here to remember. What are we here to remember exactly?
There's so many things that we're here to remember, but I honestly think, in my personal opinion, the one thing that we are here to remember is that love is the ultimate force.
It truly is.
Because no matter what happens, love will lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
You might not want to be lifted up, but I'm telling you, if you've got one person that loves you, just one, you will never be as dark as you think you are, because you have that one ray of light. But I really think we're all here to learn to love, because it is the hardest lesson to learn.
It is. It is. And I think that the whole part of my perspective, just based on my experience, is learning to love yourself first is the way, which is hard, which is hard, because it's like peeling back everything, right? Dealing with all of that and healing and learning to love yourself, because, if you don't even love yourself, how can you love others?
Yep. And by loving yourself, you give yourself grace, and you give yourself compassion, and you give yourself so many things. So learning to love is so hard, because you don't put the strings on it.
Right.
The judgment. And as humans, it's really hard not to judge. I'm guilty.
Yeah.
We're all guilty of some form of judgment. Every single one of us.
Absolutely.
So it is really hard to learn how to love without putting that string on it, without putting that and or but on it.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that's what we're here to do, is learn to love unconditionally.
Yeah. Yeah. And my thing is like the dog, like my dog has taught me to that. He has taught me unconditional love. And that's what's amazing about animals. They have the ability to really facilitate that.
I got one on each side right now.
Get a dog.
Right? Hey, dog spelled backwards is God.
It sure is, isn't it? And I don't think that's by chance.
Nope, that was not by chance.
No, it truly is. It truly is. That relationship with the dog is, and they're so intuitive. They really are. They're super. They're super, super smart. Oh, girl, I tell you. Yeah, what a journey it's been, right? It really has. And I'm glad that you're still doing the readings and the mobile healing and all of that. Stick with it. I totally get it. But I think that's going to come back around, So
I will eventually, and I've already talked to my guides with it, and they're like, Trish, you help people every single day. So long as you're still spreading your light and your love, that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that, because I know, like, even with my travels over the last 6 years back and forth from out here in the Pacific Northwest, going back east, just the people that I've met, like, you just, I can't say it enough that being patient and kind and understanding and compassionate goes a long way. And you literally can change someone's mindset just by the fact that you do that. And that's important right now because folks are, we just have to understand that folks are, well, we're exhausted. It's constant bombardment with all kinds of things, and folks are struggling. They're struggling on every facet. And so the last thing we need is someone being mean.
Yeah, so true, so true.
Yeah.
And what do you
So
do? Just being mean doesn't really solve anything, so.
it doesn't. It really, truly doesn't. And neither does being angry. And it just, I think it affects you more so than it does other people. But at the same time, when you're nasty to someone else, it's like, it really can, it's not good energy to put out.
No, it's not.
So all the more reason to have this emotional intelligence of being in control of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and understanding that regardless of what's going on with, say, whatever, like, to judge other people, to make fun of their suffering or what they're going through, or twist it to like, oh, they just want attention, or they want this. Like, what is that doing? It's just feeding. It's feeding that the darkness, and we got enough of that. So, or we've had enough of that, I should say. So the more that you can be loving and patient and kind and understanding, I think putting those cool vibes out to everyone, and I think people really need that right now.
Yes, they do.
They need that. Yeah. So let me ask you one more question in closing. I just love you. I love you so much. You're such a beautiful soul. You really are.
You know I love you too, Jamie.
Oh, thank you, honey. I appreciate it. If someone is listening and they feel called to, they're getting that call to, hey, wake up, do the work, explore this path, what would be your advice? Your like best lived experience advice of where to go, like guiding them.
Honestly, it's going to be a little bit different for each person because the introverted people would not have the same advice as the extroverted people.
True.
But my advice to anyone and everyone really and truly is to start with a book. See, because you don't have to say anything out loud to anyone. You can go to the bookstore and just browse around and see what actually like draws your eye or makes the inside of you jump or spark or a flare of hope. That's what you pick up and read. And then from there, you can see if there's any centers, metaphysical centers or spiritual centers in your area that offer anything to do with whatever it was that you were reading that made your brain go,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
maybe there is. And if there is, then you can connect with a like-minded person that can help that energy to fan and grow. But ultimately, it all starts with you. One little spark with yourself. And the best way to fan that for a lot of people is tangible. Let me read it in word and print. So I know somebody else has been through this.
Yeah.
What was their experience?
100%.
How can I learn from it? Does that work for me? And know that just because it worked for them doesn't mean it'll work for you. But you can take a portion of that and fling it to the way that does work for you. But I always recommend people start with reading, because go to what's going to draw you, because you want to learn so many things at one time. I am very guilty of that. But But when you do that, it really creates this chaotic energy inside yourself that then you get confused, and then you get irritated, and then you get upset because you're trying to learn too many things at one time and you're not really learning anything at all. So then you just kind of like throw it all down and you go, that's it, I'm done. This is for the birds. It doesn't work. But if you would just go and pick one thing that you might be interested in and do some reading on it, do some research online, find a center, and then you can jump off from there into the wonderful, vast world of spirituality and metaphysics.
Absolutely. And it's so true what you're saying, because there are so many tools out here. You just have to figure it out what works for you. Because what works for me doesn't work for you. What works for you may not work for me. And that's fine. That's okay. Like, we're all on our own journey. It's about being inquisitive. It's about that curiosity. And I'm guilty of that too, where it's like you just take on too much. It's like learning to, and I think that has a lot to do with the ADD, like, ooh, shiny thing. Oh, that's cool. Let me try this and that. But I think I'm tweaking that where I'm focusing. So that's the whole thing with the podcast, right? Focus on this. I'm focusing on the podcast, and that is what I'm focusing on. And everything else will fall into place. But yeah, it's like, read one book at a time. I'm looking over here. I've got a book on emotional intelligence. I've got a book on the power of sound healing. I've got Dr. Seby's treatment book, Positive Intelligence.
Oh my, you're all over the realm there.
I'm all over the place. So, like, I have, I've bought all kinds of books, right? And so I can't say that enough too. Just lived experience, focus on one thing. Because if you're all over the place, you're not taking in everything that is everything. And another thing, so I'm focusing on the podcast, but I am also focusing on human design and reading a book by Jenna Zoe to integrate that in to the coaching, which is forthcoming. Not right now, but it is forthcoming. And doing that. And also I think what's also important, if you want to get into eventually coaching or whatever it is that you want to get into, it is or following your niche, whatever you want to call it. You got to focus, right? You have to focus, but it's so cool because when you do that, you can kind of put your own spin on it. You put your own flavor on it, and that's the beauty of it, that when you start to integrate it and the wisdom that you carry from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, like you can impart that and give a different spin on things. And that's okay too. Yeah, what an amazing conversation we've had, sister.
We always have good conversations.
We do. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Always, the spirit is always orchestrating. It's an amazing thing when you just let go and let God do the thing. And I call it the thing that jam, right? That just you start to attract people into your orbit. It's cool. The future is bright. That's for sure. It is bright. And just plugging away, just being patient with how things unfold in the physical right now, and understanding that this ain't about anybody but God's time, and you can't rush God. So just do what you got to do, and handle your own business, and heal your own crap, heal your own stuff, and understand that I truly believe it's all going to work out. And I think the trajectory of humanity has changed, and I'm utterly grateful that that I did this. And it isn't easy, but it is so worth it. I wouldn't change a thing. Not one thing. It's been a interesting experience, but isn't that amazing that you can sit back and say, oh my gosh, everything that I've been through, like even the lack, right? Even being in the lack, like I'm like, but I'm not, because I have all of this, right? So it's and it cultivates your faith, because you start to move, and when you start to get into the flow, you start to see, and it's like, and when I mean see, I'm saying see, not this, because sometimes you gotta trust in the unseen, and just know there's an inner knowing. So it's all good.
That is so true.
All right, sister, I love you so much. Thank you for joining us. It has been amazing, and we're definitely going to have you back, obviously. But I do appreciate you coming on. And until next time, sister, harness the shift.
Love you.
Love you too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, guys. Well, how's that? That's my wonderful friend, Trish from Florida. I'm so grateful she joined us today, and I'm grateful for you that you dialed in today. Thank you so much for listening, and let us know your thoughts. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone else. And don't forget to subscribe and follow the podcast. We're on YouTube and Spotify. So with that, until next time, harness the shift. Thanks. Thank you for dialing in and listening to Harness the Shift podcast. I'm Jay, your host. I spent 23 years in clinical research and have now transitioned into guiding leaders, creators, and change makers through coaching and consulting. I also am a brand partner with LifeWave, and more information about the research and this work is available in the Central Hub link in my bio. During these conversations, my guests share how you can connect with them. All their details are in the podcast description. I'd love your help growing this podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with anyone who may benefit. And make sure to subscribe and follow on YouTube, Spotify, and soon Apple Podcasts under Harness the Shift. You can also stay connected with me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Harness the Shift with Jay, and follow my long-form writings on LinkedIn and Substack at Harness the Shift with Jay. The podcast has its own Instagram channel, which is Harness the Shift Podcast. Everything I mention, coaching, retreats, guest info, and offerings is centralized in the Central Hub, Harness the Shift with Jay. Stay rooted in the light. We're all aligned by design, and together we're harnessing the shift.